Well, it all began with a bowl of steel-cut oatmeal
That's right.
and a great cup of coffee.
Yeah, I think we conversed for quite a while, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I can't remember exactly how we came up with the idea. You probably have a better recollection of that than I do.
Well, you know, oftentimes you would tend to write what's been sitting with you for a while, or what's been sitting with the other person, and then you sort of roll with it. And I'd been thinking a lot about hope and the way that I have trivialized, unintentionally trivialized that word, and how the word gained meaning for me when I was losing hope. That's when I understood that it was a bigger word than I thought, or than I'd realized, you know.
So the genesis for this song lay with that was hope, the sort of thing that you had been fermenting with you, and you brought that to the table, or how did hope come about?
Well, I mean, it's a combination of things. Jim started playing a guitar idea and just started creating these beautiful, lush chords. And we had had quite an extensive conversation about life and just all kinds of things generally. So I don't know that we actually wrote for that long.
I think the majority of the song came on maybe the last fifth of our time together that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you wrote the song, do you sort of feel like, oh, this is great? Do you get that sort of little feeling with hairs on the back of your neck stand up, or anything? I mean, whatever that is for you?
I think that you get a sense when you're onto something. I don't think you ever really know, even when you're in the middle of it, or sometimes even when you finish it, you're not really sure. But we had kind of ruminated over a few different things, and when we landed on this, it just kind of came together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a tension that you have. I don't know how you feel about it, Jim, but for me it's a tension. It's like it's something that I have to get out, and I'm tongue-tied, or it just, you know, and so you work at it until it lands right. And then it's release. Then it's a relief. Then it's, okay, I can breathe now. It's been said. You know, what needed to come out has come out.
Were the lyrics to Hope for both of you meaningful, or was it sort of one person leading the lyrics and the other the music, for example? Were they both sort of did they have weight for both of you?
Oh, definitely. It definitely had weight for both of us. Jaylene carried the weight of the lyric, and I guess we all relate differently when we hear, you know, we have our own story behind the makeup of something like this, and so I was relating things in my life to what we were writing about. I'm sure that she was too, and I think it's not unlike the listener when they listen to the song. Everybody's going to relate to it differently. The listener is almost the end of the line, like the completion of the song. See if I can figure out how to describe this. When you write a song, you have an idea, and you put the pieces of it together like a puzzle, and then you put it out into the world. It's really not finished until the listener ingests it, until the listener hears it, and it becomes their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so by nature, it's a little different for everybody. You know, you're going to hear the song and you're going to pull things out of it, if we did a good job.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes,
Mm-hmm.
we both.
Well, that was actually a question I was going to ask, is at what point do you kind of let it go? Like, it's like, you know, your child going out in the world, or you know, if I make a film, at some point I don't want to see it anymore. It's almost not mine anymore.
I've worked with some writers that don't let it go. And that can be painful too. I mean, there comes a point where you do have to either let it sit because you can't quite figure it out, let it sit and back away. And sometimes that's enough for the completion of it to happen. It's a hard thing to explain. But I think for me, it's when it feels right. It feels right. There's nothing niggling at me. And I get that feeling.
You know, what's very interesting is you say let it go. There was a period of time between when we wrote the song and this recording that we've made.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way I let it go after we'd written it, after a certain amount of time went by, a certain amount of life went by. Yesterday when we were in the studio and in the middle of performing it, these things pop into your head or into my head. I know they did for you. And you experience it anew. There are things that people and situations that popped into my head in the middle of recording a guitar part, almost to the point where it was distracting enough that I thought, okay, I've got to concentrate on what I'm doing here because I'm leaving my body right now and having this experience the song is bringing me. So I don't know that you ever really let go of it.
Yeah.
I think if you do, it comes back to you.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
And getting back to your earlier question, I want to say too that whether a person in a collaboration brings one thing or the other, the two things are not exclusive. And really, I mean, they can be. Somebody can bring a completed lyric and say, write a melody to this. But for me, the best collaborations are like what we did, because the music creates an emotional context that feeds the lyric. And the conversation, the concept, sort of feeds the music,
Right.
as well as the lyrics. So it's all interconnected. And in the best collaborations, I feel, when the writers are very open to each other and to that experience, the two things play off one another, as the song gets created. So I don't think it's about, well, so-and-so brought this 15% and so-and-so brought 3%. And,
Right.
Sometimes one person's 2 words can unlock
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
rest,
And I think in this case, we took a little break and I made this oatmeal. And Jaylene was really hoping it was going to be good.
And it was.
And it okay, I'm sorry I had to do that. She was really hoping that I had some brown sugar to go with that oatmeal.
Mm-hmm.
And you did.
And he has a really great coffee machine, which is essential in any writing session.